Hello, YouTubers. This is another session in our podcast series where we get to talk to amazing pioneers in the tech industry, people that influence our day-to-day jobs, with their, teaching us, influencing how we develop systems, introducing us to new technologies, introducing us to new patterns. Sometimes, when throughout my work day, sometimes I don't have the time to kind of go through, a new documentation that's been published or a new wiki that's been published about a new technology, and then comes people like, my brother Jeff here, to say, hey, look at this new cool thing. I'm not going to waste more than 10 minutes of your life. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. You're going to get it. You know what it is. And now go ahead and use it and feel better and learn better, and do better things out there. So, this brother here needs no introduction, really. He's
Gosh, thank
someone
you.
I personally really admire and appreciate. An amazing person. Also a very heavy influencer. Congratulations, 20,000 followers on
Oh my
YouTube,
gosh.
on
I
Twitter.
it's I I know it's more than a lot of folks, but I also look at it as there's a couple more rungs in the ladder to cross here, you know. Six figures would be nice at some point, but whatever.
I'll tell you this much though, like in the tech industry, especially the stuff that you talk about, it's very niche audience.
It
It's
is.
very specific. Like you're not dropping iPhones from the 10th floor or doing pranks
No.
or going
No.
behind people and screaming. You're actually talking about very useful, specific things that
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
can use. Like Jeff and I were just talking a second ago about how a lot of people get inspired by his content and how it actually opens up opportunities for them. We'll get to that part, in a little bit. But let's just get started. Jeff, who are
Sure.
you?
So my
How
name
did
is
this
Jeff
happen?
Fritz.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and I'm a developer on the East Coast of the United States. I write code primarily with C sharp. I fell in love recently with a framework called Blazor, so much so I got a friend to put it on a hat for me. I have a crazy hats collection that I've built websites for and demos around. But a lot of folks know me not just because I do a lot of C sharp. I write websites, but I do a lot of live streaming. I write code. I answer questions. I do effectively live developer talk radio and live demonstrations on Twitch. I create a lot of YouTube videos as well, and that type of outreach, that type of real connection with folks, making mistakes, giving demos because everything's live.
Mhm.
Having those frank discussions that folks want to ask questions about whatever the tech of the day is, whatever the topic is that folks are chattering about on Twitter, and being able to respond and be more than just the voice in the YouTube window
Yeah. More
is something.
interactive, more engaging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate that from folks that do uh, make themselves more vulnerable like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Because when you put yourself out there, you're very likely to kind of be, approached with a question you may or may not know.
hmm
And I'll tell you something though. I've seen a lot of your content. You have absolutely no problem saying, I don't know. And I think that in and of itself, like I always tell people, saying I don't know is half of the knowledge in the world, because you're basically saying, I recognize that there's areas and there are things that, I'm not quite, familiar with, but you sure I'm gonna go and research it and look it up and make sure that I understand it full well and then come back and tell you what I think. How did you get to that point where you are, I can say I don't know, and that's
so
totally fine. Go ahead.
it's interesting. I actually look at it as there's three possible responses, maybe even four,
Mhm.
to every question that you get live, or even when you're presenting or in a panel discussion, right?
Uh-huh,
You know the answer, so you're going to give the answer to the question, right?
uh-huh.
I don't know the answer, but I know someone who does.
Mhm.
You know, follow up with me. I'm going to get you connected with whoever that person is. Hey, let me connect you with my buddy Hassan, and he's going to help you out with that. The third one is I know where to find that answer. And when I'm on a live broadcast,
Uh-huh.
I'll open the browser, I'll open my resources, and I will find the answer if I know I can find it
Yeah.
in 30
You
seconds
know
or
what it
less.
is.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
I saw it in some documentation, or there was a blog post over here that
Uh-huh.
we can go dig it up. And the fourth is no. You know what? I don't know it. I don't have time. I don't know where to go with it. You're gonna have to ask someone else. How did I get there? Is I I'll tell you, okay,
Mhm,
before I started, before Microsoft, before my other employers, before that, before as I started getting into the speaking circuit,
mhm,
I spoke at my local user group,
mhm,
and um, I was giving a session on, I remember it so well. I was giving a session on C sharp and generic types.
uh-huh,
This was like .NET 3.5 era, right? Like
yep,
2007, 2008.
mhm,
And I'm giving this session at our local code camp for the user group. And I'm talking about it, and there was some question that came up,
mhm,
and I thought I answered it well. And I look around, and the guy in the front seat, front row in the seat, literally just on the other side of the presenter table, was asleep. I mean, not just nodded off, but
snoring.
snoring. And then the guy next to him asked me a question about, um, I forget, I even forget exactly what the question was, but I
Mhm,
had no idea what the answer was. And I thought, I'm gonna try and answer this. And I started talking about it and was like, "You know what? No, I don't know the answer to that. I would have to go look it up." And I was at this event. I didn't have the resources in front of me or anything. I didn't know who to call or anything. And I got about 30 seconds into answering the question. I said, "Well, wait a sec. No, that's not right. You know what? No, I'm sorry. I don't know the answer to that question." And it was that first taste of humble pie. Like
yep, yep,
I walked away from there and I thought, man, that was terrible how I answered that question.
mhm,
And a friend gave me some tips. I talked to some other folks who said, you know, it's okay to say no. And when I started engaging more and seeing more folks present and watching videos, watching folks give presentations, answer questions live with an audience, hearing people on the radio, right? Listening to morning talk radio is an amazing asset
mhm,
for to pick up and hear exactly how folks get questions, right?
mhm,
Sports talk radio is amazing for this because folks will just make up answers,
yep,
right? Or call in political talk shows, right?
yep.
Folks just they won't say I don't know. They will say the
They're
stupidest
streaming. They're
off the
like, yep,
yes.
yep,
Yes. And it's like, okay, yeah, that right when you recognize that that's an extreme that you don't want to be,
no, not in tech. Doesn't
it
work.
helps to yeah, it helps to shape and curve you towards it's okay to say, "You know what? No." Especially if you're on a clock, right?
Yeah,
If you're on a clock, if you have a hard stop, we've only got 10 minutes left, and somebody asks you a question that's off topic and you don't know the answer to it, sorry, I'm not gonna
I
answer
don't
that
know.
question. You
Yeah,
know,
move on. Yeah.
yep, I'm moving on. And, I've had folks get really offended at that. I'm like, "What do you want me to do? If I don't know that answer."
I'm not gonna give you. You'd rather say I don't know, but rather than just telling someone, hey, you can do it this way, and then they spin their wheels trying to say, well, Jeff said it works
Yeah,
this way, so I must be stupid. I must be the one that's not.
exactly.
Oh, I you
You
see
don't
this?
wanna mislead someone.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
right, on the other side, folks have to appreciate and understand, we've only got so much time in front of a camera, in front of a live audience, in person, and if you're off topic and asking me something specific,
Hmm.
I can't help you. You know, "Hey,
Hmm.
send me the question offline, put a gist together, a document with a little bit more detail, and we'll take a look." And 99 times out of 100, I would say 9 times out of 10, but it's even less than that. 99 times out of 100, folks don't come back. They're like, okay," and I don't get a follow-up. All right, fine, you know,
Yeah,
that's fine by me. I can still move forward and appreciate. I answered 60 questions during that live stream. One person is not thrilled that I wasn't able to get to their question.
that's
Okay,
okay. You're not gonna please. You can only please some people some of the time, right?
exactly,
I know
exactly.
some of the best, people that present. there's still someone is gonna say, I guess, Jeff, this is actually a great realization because if you're outspoken, extroverted, or you like people, you want to talk in front of a bunch of people, sometimes, it becomes harder to wrap our heads around that the fact that I'm not for everybody. Like
Yeah.
I have that problem. When I
Yeah.
go and talk in front of a bunch of people, I want everyone to be happy and like the content that I put out there all the time. But the
Hmm.
reality is, people are different. People
Exactly.
just come from all different kinds of, I had people actually reach out to me and say, the content is great, but the video quality and the voice quality is garbage. So people will find something, to talk about and say they didn't like. But let me roll back a little bit to you here for a second.
Sure.
How did you get into this? By the way, just for the people watching, he's being very humble. This brother here is a principal program manager on the .NET Visual Studio organization. So he's not just a developer. That's just him being really
I yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Um
How did you get
so
into this? Go ahead.
how did I get into tech, or how did I get to here?
How did you get into tech, and how
Okay.
did you, arrive here, where you are today? Go ahead.
It was the worst of times, it was the best of times. It was 1976. No. Um
It was a dark night in June 1998.
Call me Ishmael. No. We're not going that far back.
All right.
I apologize out there, friends. Let us on know you like the jokes down below, okay? Um, so,
Go ahead.
no, gosh, when I was in high school, even before high school, when I was a kid in elementary school, my excuse me, my father bought the family a Commodore 64 to play games and whatever. But I wanted to learn, and I saw I could insert commands into it, and I started to teach myself BASIC,
Mm-hmm.
and I started working with my dad and learning BASIC, like
Mm-hmm.
original BASIC here on the Commodore 64.
Mm-hmm.
And I got little books with programs in it, and little things, and the lemonade stand game and stuff like that. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. This is so cool. I can write code and it does things. And I stepped away from that. Other things came up that I wasn't as interested in programming, and I wasn't really playing video games that much. I got into all kinds of other things as a kid, but then when I got into high school, there were a lot of my classmates were really interested in bulletin board services and dialing around and doing stuff with that, modems and all that fun stuff. That was kind of fun and interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
even then, I wasn't writing programs or anything. I was just kind of tinkering around and using the internet v0.1, right? um Wildcat bulletin board service. Yeah, that was a reference out there.
Yes.
You could pay you may folks out there may know who I'm referencing. And I got into college, and I was into chemistry and engineering, and that's where I was going. And it it didn't feel right. I was doing so much math, so much calculus. It was like, this isn't me. Like
Mm-hmm.
doing a triple integral to calculate the flow of a viscous fluid through a pipe that had this type of friction coefficient on it. I'm like, I'm turning it into a freaking plumber here. What the heck is this? So, and at the same time, right, the internet is starting to hit, right? We've grown
Yeah.
out of gopher holes. Folks at the University of Minnesota know what I'm referencing, and into the World Wide Web, and Netscape is becoming a thing. I'm thinking, this is kind of interesting. Okay. And I got my hands on Visual Basic 5.
Nice.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's right. I wasn't using VB4 DD. So I and she knows who I'm referencing as well. Love the inner joke shout outs here. Anyways, so VB5, and this was really cool. Okay, I'm getting interested in this. And somebody at a place that I was interning, an insurance company I was interning at over the summer, said, well, here, check out Microsoft Access. You can wire up to a database a little bit of
Database. Yeah.
code
Mhm.
to generate reports and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, this feel here's all the pieces coming together. And then
Yep.
I learned how we could use VB to build with a little bit of ASP, classic
Hmm.
ASP,
Hmm.
build COM components and build websites that run on, gosh, I forget what version of IIS it was, 2, 3. And I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. I graduated college and I came out in the middle of the Y2K repairs. It was
Hmm.
99. It was like, we need you to go fix some
It's
Y2K
happening.
code. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, okay, fine." But I was a contractor for 2 years. I got into a .com
Mm.
startup for a couple years and was a senior developer right off the get go there because
Experience. Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
the VB6, I knew the ASP code. I had seen so much of it. I knew
Yeah.
how to glue all the pieces together quickly and build a decent website. And it bounced around from the startup to a pharmaceutical company to another startup. Got into .NET and fell in love with the technology. Uh, so much so that I started a blog about all the dumb things I was doing in C sharp. And I called my blog, right? And here's where the name comes from. I
Uh-huh.
called my blog C sharp on the Fritz because I was doing
Nice.
things that shouldn't work in C sharp or things that I don't know why this isn't working. It must be your stupid compiler is what's going through my 20 something head. And I
Uh-huh.
called it C sharp on the Fritz. And nobody read it. It's
Mm.
gone. That is ancient history.
Yeah.
And and then right in at the age of Twitter came
Hmm.
and well, all right, what am I going to do? I want to do C sharp on the Fritz is my name. Well, that's too long. You need to shorten it. So I got rid of the on and the, and we
Yeah.
became just C sharp Fritz.
Jeff Fritz. So there's
So
something interesting there. It seems like technology found you. Normally, people say
yeah,
we I found technology, but it seems like throughout your life, wherever you went, you found a group of people that had some interest in technology, at least in college. You know,
yes.
so
Oh, and it
go
goes even a little bit further. So the second startup I was working at, I was there for 5 6 years, and I they said we want to start sending folks out to training. Where
ahead.
where would you like to go? I said, oh well, can I go to Tech Ed? So I went to Tech Ed 2008 in Orlando.
Hmm. Hmm.
We went back in 2010 in New Orleans, and when I was in New Orleans, I met up with this guy Richard Campbell,
Hmm.
and we're sitting at a booth and we're talking about barbecue literally for an hour talking about making barbecue different ways to cook meat over fire
Uh-huh.
and it was an absolute blast I talked to folks in community .net and developer communities and had a great time but Richard was hosting an event
Hmm.
during lunch at Tech Ed called Speaker Idol,
Hmm.
kind of like American Idol or Pop
Yeah.
Idol, depending on
Yeah.
where you're from.
Yeah.
And right where speakers give a little 5 minute presentation, there's a couple
Old
judges that
judge.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
select a winner at the end of the um at the end of four competitors,
Yeah.
and the winners from the first 3 days come back on the fourth day, and there's a finals, a showdown, and the winner
Yeah.
gets to come back and speak at Tech Ed the following year. And Tech Ed's a huge
Nice.
event, right?
Yeah.
Tech Ed became Ignite.
Yes.
So, Hassan, I saw this as my chance to break through.
This is
This
it.
is this is my chance. So, Tech Ed 2012. Here, I'm just a 20 something guy that's speaking at 20. I was maybe early 30s, speaking at my local user group,
Uh-huh.
and uh, I, I'm going to break through. So I go to Tech Ed 2012. I put in a message with Richard. Hey, I'd love to give a presentation and be part of this. Sure,
Uh-huh.
I'll give you a spot. He's throwing me a bone. He barely knows who I am.
Uh-huh.
And I gave a presentation on day
The
one,
state of uh-huh.
and I got in. I advanced to the finals. All right, so I
Yeah.
get to the finals, and the finals are when we look back now, it's three people who work for Microsoft now, and another guy who's an independent contractor, and it's like, I mean, just an amazing group. And I didn't win. Okay, fine, but two of the judges were vice presidents at Telerik Software.
Mm.
So they
Mhm.
said, "Okay, you didn't win, but you want a job?" Like,
We're very
okay.
interested.
So I
Nice,
went there and learned how to be a better speaker, better
nice,
engage the community because I started focusing on that instead of writing code every
nice.
day as an engineer.
Yep.
And I started running into more Microsoft folks at the various events that I went to. And eventually, the manager said to me, "You're talking more and better about our products than we are. Why don't you come work for me?"
Work for
And the rest is history.
this is just history.
Yeah.
Jeff, in our industry, it's very rare to run into someone who wants to engage with people and
Mm,
engage with the community. Like a lot of people just want to write code, leave me alone. You know, was it
sure.
was it harder for you to kind of find, kind of inspiration? Because, the vast majority of people in the community are just folks who want to watch, they want to
Sure.
read, but they
Sure.
don't want to do it. They don't want to
They
engage,
wanna
and that's
build the
okay.
magic. They wanna
Yeah,
build the thing.
yeah.
So, when I was a kid, my father worked for I can say it now, he worked for IKEA.
Hmm.
He was the worldwide systems administrator. So,
Hmm.
if you bought product from IKEA, your product went through his data systems, right?
Nice. Hmm.
So, I was around tech for a very long time,
Yeah.
and my mother was a teacher.
Hmm. You
So,
got
here
the. Hmm. Hmm.
exactly. So we'd be sitting around the dinner table, and dad wants to, go talk about something tech that happened, but my mother's non-technical.
Yep.
So he's trying to eh,
Simplify it.
simplify and
Yeah.
explain it a little bit easier. And
Yeah.
then as I started to get into tech and bulletin boards and the like when I was in college and Visual Basic, I'm talking to my father about these things, and my mother has no idea. So I
Uh-huh.
learned I learned very quickly as a teen, as a college student, how to how to explain things that were very technical so that my mother could understand, so that other
Yeah.
family members could understand,
Yeah.
so that I so that they would appreciate something that I had accomplished
Yeah.
or help them achieve some sort of task that they were attempting to do. So that was that initial spark that set me on that path. The
Hmm.
fact that my mother's a teacher kind of also put that educating
Yep.
others in that sensibility into my blood, where it means a lot to me to hear other folks are successful. It
Yep.
means a lot. It's great. It's fantastic to hear that, hey, I learned something from you, and now I've got a new job that's going to pay me more. I've
Yep.
advanced from junior developer to senior developer.
Yep.
I'm a senior engineer, and I'm now promoted to lead, and I'm leading a team now.
Hmm.
More than delivering a product or getting some functionality running, a website running, hearing other folks be
The impact.
successful,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what lights me up. That's what makes my day.
So Jeff, it's not technology itself. It's just technology just happens to be a vehicle where we kind of make impact into people's lives. Let
Yeah,
me
that's a great way to put it. You're right.
is that what
Oh,
so
yeah.
so so let- so let me ask you this. Where are you originally from? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? Mhm.
Right here. Literally, I was born in a hospital, literally, Hassan, that's 2 blocks that way. I grew up
Nice.
in a home that's the next town over here. I literally the furthest away that I've moved and lived was 3 hours away to go to university. Came back and I've been living here my whole life. It was Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground, I spent most of my days,
Yeah,
and
Philly.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna continue the song, and those of you with the Fresh Prince can continue.
So, okay, Philly, beautiful,
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
So let's move on to the next thing.
Sure.
One thing that when you're a very prominent, popular developer advocate, and this is not a job. This is something that you like to do. Like when I sit down
Mm.
and listen to you, first time I saw you was years and years ago. One of these .NET Conf after hours when you sit down with other engineers. I would just
Mhm.
sit there and watch. Like in my head, let me tell you, I sent you. on YouTube, I sent you a message of, you know how you interact with people
Oh
live,
yeah.
live chat, right? And you actually answered, and I was hooked immediately. I was like, what? I could just talk to the brother, like, and he will
Yeah.
answer me right away.
Mm,
And you were always there. You would go and look up for answers, and this is exactly what you
hmm.
were saying earlier. You just go and say, well, let me find the answer for that, or hey, we don't know. And you actually said my name. You were like, hey,
Yeah.
son, how are you doing? And I was like,
Hmm.
that's weird. Let me shut
Hmm.
down everything. So so there's some love into what you do. I see it.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people see it. There's some passion. You don't do this. This is not a nine to five thing. And this is
No.
not
And
a yeah, go ahead. Go
well,
ahead.
and I was going to say regarding responding to chat like that, it's when you're hosting a live event, it is a gift to receive chat messages from folks because right, a lot of folks, if they're in an office, if they're watching television or whatever, they're sitting back, they're in the sit back, the lean
Yeah.
back experience,
No engagement, just
and there's no
observe.
engagement,
Yeah.
right? Okay, somebody might tweet with a hashtag and you're gonna have to go watch that hashtag and dig it out and whatever.
Yep.
But if I'm doing a live stream for a .NET Conf or on YouTube or on Twitch, and and folks are typing and reaching out in chat, I want to acknowledge as many of them as best I can, and as concurrent viewership numbers go up,
Mhm.
it gets a little bit trickier to acknowledge folks.
Yep.
But I want to make sure that I, as the least that I can do as a host, as the face on screen, I want to make sure that I say hello and I greet and I engage as many folks as possible. When
Mhm.
those numbers go over 500, 1,000, 500, I was okay. I can handle 500. It's not
Mhm.
500 is tough, but you get over 1,000 and you just can't get through and say hello to everybody. And we end up with a little bit of moderation happening at that point to
Yep.
kind of curate some of that. But
Yep.
if there's 500 or less folks, I will make sure that I read every single chat message and
Nice.
acknowledge and try to engage those folks as best I
Nice.
can. It,
Nice.
it's you're doing me the honor of spending some time with me. I'm going to make sure that I thank you for spending that time with me.
This is real. I didn't expect that answer, to be honest with you. A lot of people like might see like, oh, you're messaging me. I guess I'll answer you, but you see that as a an honor. You see that as
Yeah,
something that someone's decided to spend some time, to kind of interact with you and the content that you're presenting. Why do you like that so much? Where is the source of that energy and passion? I know you said you talked a little bit about your mother was a teacher, your
yep,
father was into tech, that kind of built that.
yep.
But there's something more. There's
Yeah,
something
there
more
is.
that's
Oh,
making you
definitely.
want to. What is
Hmm.
that? What is this thing?
So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I about I want to say 7, 8 years ago, I recorded a number of courses for PluralSight,
Hmm.
and in those pre-recorded courses, even more than when you deliver a session in person, you get zero feedback. You're
Hmm.
you're literally talking to a camera and the wall
That's it.
behind it,
Yeah.
just you. You're
Yep.
you're reading your script, you're going through your demos, and that's it. Zero feedback. And
Yep.
after recording for 8, 10 hours, editing for another 20, 24 hours on that content, this stinks.
That's right.
I want to actually talk to people and get feedback from them. So I got into writing blog posts. Like, all right, I'll write blog posts, and it was very much part of my job for the .NET team. Like,
Yep.
literally, I'd have the .NET team come to me and say, "Okay, we're going to push out, .NET Core version 2.0 preview, whatever.
Yep.
We need you to write a blog post about it." I said, "Okay, well, what's in this release? Well, here's the release notes that we have." And that was it. Okay, so I'd go and write that blog post, put it out there, and I'd go to read the comments, and the comments would come in over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Yep.
I forget what I wrote.
Yep,
Why am I
it's
still checking
yep,
this
the heat of
thing?
it is over. The momentum of it is over. Yep,
Yeah, like, I'm getting ready to write the next blog post.
yep,
Why am I maintaining that one?
yep.
So, that frustrated me, and the fact that I had to go back and edit and re-edit the blog post, I'm like, "Are you kidding?" And
Mm,
and so folks started pointing me towards podcasts and said, "Well, why don't you record a podcast? You've got a little bit of a voice for this. You certainly know how to talk to people. You could talk and interview folks just like this, and have a good time with that, and really dig in and have that conversation that you're looking for." And as
mhm,
I started setting up for that, very good friend of mine, Suze Hinton, and
mhm.
I'll drop her name. She can take the
Okay.
blame for this.
Blame.
Said, "You gotta check out this thing, live coding over on Twitch." "What?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
are you?" And the first time that I took the American Thanksgiving weekend, so it was a late Thursday, Friday in November.
mhm.
I said, let me try this. I've already got a microphone. I've got a webcam. Let me see how this works." And turned the things on, and you know what? I'm going to
Just
write a little bit of code,
yep,
make it all open source because of whatever, and just see if anybody shows up.
yep,
It wasn't the first broadcast that got me hooked. It was, but seeing folks chat, I had 3 people in chat, Hassan. It was
yep, yep.
amazing. But it was the second or third when
Yep,
somebody sent me a pull request for the code that I was working on.
yep, yep.
Ooh,
That's open
now
source right there.
now to your point,
Yep,
it was a two-way conversation.
yep,
Now I appreciated more than when I watched other streamers on Twitch that are playing games, right? Ninja, Dr. Lupo,
yep,
Tim the Tatman, these folks that are playing games, and they only talk to the people that tip them $5 or more,
yep,
like,
yep,
because there's 10,000 people
yep,
watching
yep.
concurrently. I I don't have 10,000 people watching. I have 10. I can say hello and have that conversation. And the fact that chat got so vested in my success,
Mhm,
they took such an interest in, hey, let's get this project delivered, and
mhm.
more folks showed up. That's what got me even more hooked
Hooked
on
up to the
the
engage yeah,
conversation, the engagement. And a month or so later, somebody said, "This was really cool. What I learned from you, this happened." I mean, I was already interested in that because of being a community person, but hearing it firsthand live, yeah,
that's it. That's
that's
the
it. We got to celebrate that. We got to take some time and let folks know, yeah, you know what? That's what this is about. It's not about me building a website or a component
it's the
framework.
people, just the
It's
engagement that you
about
have. Yeah,
the just like you said, the stream is a vehicle and the tech is a vehicle for that education,
yep,
for that
yep,
conversation.
yep,
The projects that I'm working on are a vehicle to teach whatever that topic is, but they're a vehicle to participate in the success of others.
yep. Speaking of the success of others, I saw this online and I can't help it. I said I'm gonna have to ask him about this because this is such a great moment.
Sure.
So I saw this tweet. This gentleman here said
Yeah.
this. He said,
Yeah.
"Better news, I got the job. Thank you, Scott Hanselman and Jeff Fritz, and other inspiring teacher that helped me make this happen."
Yeah.
Do you even know this guy? Have you ever met
No.
this guy?
No.
Wow. How did you feel when you saw this? This is
Oh,
like,
check out the quote tweet and you can see how I felt.
oh, let's
The
see.
the, the quote tweet right there underneath the timer.
There you are.
Yeah, there you go. That's how I felt. Like, that's awesome, right? It's right when we think about when we send a message on social media, when you tell your friends, hey, something's going on in my life. It's that first, right, that first shell, that first bubble of friends, of folks that are engaged with it, right? Hey, I've got the folks that are watching me live on a broadcast, or the
Yep,
folks that are watching this video.
Yeah.
That first group of folks that we probably know a good number of
Yeah.
because they're friends and they reach out and they talk to us.
Yep.
It's that next group of folks, the
Yep.
folks that did watch our content, that did
Yep.
listen, that did read the blog post, that told their friends, and they came back and either maybe they didn't read it, but maybe they saw, an anecdote or something. They heard an anecdote or something that we conveyed. That next group that we don't know,
Yep.
that's where it starts to get interesting. And then the third group beyond that we have no idea who these people are.
Yep. Yep.
Like, okay, now we're talking, right? That now
Yep.
we're at a viral state
Your impact
where
is, yep. Yep.
the impact is significant. And measuring each one of those groups is significant when we think about influence and growth of a product, a brand, a media content, right? How much folks access and get into our content. So yes, I don't know who that gentleman was. They've seen our content. Fantastic. I'm so happy for them that I could be a part,
Yep.
a small part of their
Their
success. They
life.
did it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did the interview. They studied. They learned. The fact that I could be a part of that and give them some interest, so create some excitement, some inspiration for them. Thank
I,
you
I,
for letting me be a part of that. But
I love,
congratulations to them.
brother. I love that. Just, I always say, like, advocating for anything, going out there out of your way, especially if you're trying to teach people something useful. There's a lot of bad content on the internet. There's a lot of
Mhm.
destructive, hateful,
Yeah.
content, on the internet. So I have huge, huge appreciation and admiration for people who are trying to put something actually useful for people on the internet, not going there to troll people, not going there to,
No.
cause fires, not going there to start arguments. They're just trying to put useful, universally useful content for people that they can use and they can leverage. And I think, the thing I admire the most about you is that you are helping people you probably will never meet.
Yeah.
Like your
You're
voice,
right.
they wouldn't even say thank you to you. You wouldn't even know. You could be passing by someone whom you have, tremendously changed their lives, in the tech industry, and you wouldn't know,
Mhm.
and your
Mhm.
voice is reaching every corner of the earth. People are listening to you everywhere, and this is the beauty of the internet. Some people, like I said, when I remember a time growing up where people said, "No, stay away from the internet. The internet is, just bad for
Yeah.
you." There's still this mindset, but you are actually utilizing, this technology that we have to make people's lives better. And this is something that inspires me personally. Like, my mother would always say, if you don't have something nice to say, just don't say
Yes.
anything at all. You know,
Yes.
that's pretty much
Yes.
the internet for you. Let me ask you this, Jeff. What, like, knowing all of this, you must be running into. I saw a couple of times where you were struggling. I know you got COVID at some point in
Yeah.
time, right? And
Yeah.
I know you were struggling, and I know that, I can tell, just looking at your tweets, I can tell I really want to do this, but just life kicks in.
Mhm.
I'm struggling. How do you, like, do you ever think about, I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. What keeps you going when you go through hard times, difficult times? Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, that's a really good question. The so I got COVID, it was mid-March.
Yep.
My, my kids were participating in some events with school, and they had just rolled back the mask requirements at
Yeah.
school, and, yeah.
Bam. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so my wife and my daughter got it, and I was trying to help them as best
Yep.
I could with it, and sure enough, I got it 2 days later, and
Yep.
whew, um, but, I mean, what keeps me going? There's a magic to what we can do with the technology. I
Yep.
mean, dear Lord, I'm sitting in my spare bedroom. I have 2 cameras pointed at me right now. The third is behind the set here. I've
Yep.
got my own green screen
Yep.
set here. I've got special effects in front of me. I've got a studio mixer sitting here. All these things that help literally allow me to create television quality content
Yep.
from home that's so accessible. There's a magic to this that we can create and deliver, and we can write applications, websites, code that
Anything. Yeah.
that does things to make our lives easier, other folks' lives easier. I can be a little selfish in building a demo for folks that allows me to manage my hat collection, things like that. Okay, you know what? That's fun. That's easy for me to do. And when I get in and I sit down in this chair and I realize and I see the things that we can do,
Hmm.
that alone is inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And having having some of those successes that other folks have had exposed to me and shared with me, that lights me up.
Yeah.
I had the folks from I'm doing a fundraiser
Hmm.
on stream for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They kids that have catastrophic diseases, leukemia,
Yeah.
cancer. They get to go to this hospital free of charge, and the doctors, they help them beat these diseases. They help kids beat the diseases. And a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, a friend came to me and said, "Hey, can would you be interested in helping out? You know,
Hmm.
they're a cancer survivor, and as a father of two kids, sure."
Hmm.
And I made a couple of hats like this that that are custom that I designed. I made them available. I would get them embroidered and send them out to folks, and
Hmm.
it worked out great. I raised $500 and sent that off, and that's great. Last year,
Hmm.
I said, okay, I'm going to run this. I'm going to run a fundraiser on my channel myself,
Hmm.
and uh, doing some things, even some things other folks might consider humiliating, dressing in onesies that look like make me look like a chicken or a cow or a donkey,
Hmm.
dressing up in a chroma key costume that makes me look like Clippy. Um, but raising money, doing fun things that for kids like that, and
Hmm.
having the folks at St. Jude come back to me and say you were one of the top 100 fundraisers on
Oh, wow.
Twitch for the year. Like,
No, really?
wow. Like,
Oh, that's not
wow.
okay. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
and they
this
came
is
back to me and they came back to me this year and said, "Would you do it again?" And yeah, I I got to
this
do it.
yeah, this is man, this is oh man, this
So,
is
it's
yeah,
not my kids. It's not it's not it's not my friends' kids, but it's
yeah,
helping folks that they don't know where to turn.
yeah.
I mean, when you think about some of those things that these folks, they don't have access to.
They don't have
They
any yeah, yeah,
and being able to be to pay it forward, to
yeah,
use these things that I have here available for tech, to have a little bit of fun,
yeah,
to have fun with ourselves, to raise a little bit of money to help those folks, pay it forward to people
yeah, this is
who need that help of our time, our our treasures, and the tasks that we can do. Yeah, our talents and donating them to them for 1/12 of the year, for 1 month of the year, I can do that, and that inspires me, hearing that kids, that researchers are able to make a difference. St. Jude is where a good bit of the research went in for
yep,
some of the pediatric,
yep, yep,
COVID vaccines.
yep.
So
I stopped going to Best Buy because they don't collect for St. Jude anymore. I was there the other day. I was like,
mm,
where's the
mm,
donation? And the lady was like, I don't know. They stopped doing it. I said, I'm not coming back here until you guys. But but
ah,
but I but I want to ask you this. You just inspired something very interesting. You are amplifying your impact with the same content.
mhm.
Like you're gonna stream, right?
Yeah,
You started from I'm gonna write really useful applications, and I'm gonna get a job. Okay, you got the job, you wrote the useful applications, and now you're just like, I want to share this with the world so other people can benefit from this. So now you have a job, you're doing something fun for yourself, and then you're also sharing it with the world. And now you're not just helping other engineers, kind of find their path and career, like the gentleman that we were just
Yeah,
reading
the
this
tweet.
tweet,
Yeah.
but now you're amplifying. Is this intentional? Are you intentionally, systematically trying to say, how can I extract more value out of the content that I put out there so I can reach the maximum number of people? But this is multidimensional, because
Yeah.
you're not just teaching people programming, you're
Mhm.
helping children in
Mhm.
hospitals. Are you doing that on purpose, or do you feel like it's
I'm
just part of the flow? Go ahead. Go ahead.
when I after I got about a year into streaming,
Uh-huh.
somebody asked me to describe what I do. And I explained what live coding was, what the developer talk show was.
Mm-hmm.
And they summed it up in just a few in a sentence or two. "Oh, you're the Bill Nye for this generation, for the internet generation."
Yeah.
That's
Yes, you are.
that's pretty amazing to be compared to.
Yeah.
I'm from the
Bill- so-
days of Mr. Wizard. That's how old I am. Um, but it's there's always, for the last 30, 40 years, there's always been someone that comes on television that teaches
Inspires.
and
Yeah.
inspires, and, "Hey, let's do something cool with science and technology," and am I the Bill Nye of the tech? I can't.
I
I
I
can't say
I
I
think
am. I try to I aspire to be that well known, to have that amount of positive impact, not
mhm,
just on our tech communities,
mhm,
but
mhm.
to reach outside of that and to help other folks
Yeah,
understand,
this
appreciate programming technologies, internet technologies, and maybe they learn something that makes their lives a little bit better. They learn something, heck, even if it's a hotkey in Windows or on their Mac OS, fantastic.
Jeff, who are your role models? What do you look up to?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. I don't know.
Or maybe people that inspired you in one way or another. I know you talked about your parents.
Yeah, yeah, my parents. And when I was a kid, Mr. Wizard was a big deal on
Yep.
television. My gosh, I had his books, and I read those books, and how cool it was that, half an hour at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, guy would come on TV and teach us all about chemistry and physics um and
All different kinds of
all different kinds of science.
yeah.
Yeah, there. Oh my gosh, Don Herbert, there he is.
I'm
Hmm.
just trying to show people. So I'm looking at this. Yeah, it's literally what you do. Hey,
Yeah.
come here, let me show you, how to do something that I see this in no way, shape, or form different than you saying, let's try, web API. So let's try
Absolutely.
Blazor, or let's try this
Mhm.
thing. Oh man, that's yeah.
Right? Now the kid's gonna put the rubber ball in a yeah, oh my gosh, I remember this episode. Hassan, like, right, he's put it into a little dish of first off, where do you get a dish of liquid nitrogen? Let's start there,
Right.
right? Like, okay. And,
This
yeah.
this
And
kid is so curious. He's like,
uh-huh,
what is he gonna do now? Like,
right?
it's
And
like
there's
like
fog coming off of it. Look, there's fog coming off of this. And,
nice.
oh my gosh.
You,
Yeah.
you, kn- you know what I'm looking at? I'm just looking at him. How, like, look at this. The kindness
Mhm.
and selflessness. It's like, let me explain this to you. I really want you to know how this works. This just it's not just again. It's not a job. This is a passion. This is a purpose. Go
You're
ahead.
right, Hassan. Look at his body language. He's not
Yep.
looking at the camera.
Yep.
He's looking at
Yeah.
his student, right? He's
Yep.
looking at the kid that he's mentoring. Hey, let me show you. Look at
Yep.
check this out. And we just happen to be another a fly on the wall.
Yep. Yep.
We're
Look at this. Yep.
listening. Yeah, look, this is fun. It brings out the hammer and yeah.
And
Yeah.
I also noticed, like, how engaged they are. It's like we're
Mhm.
not even here. It's like we're not even watching.
Yeah.
This may as well be just two people learning about this new experiment, And I think, I bet you this, with or without cameras, he would do exactly the same thing he's doing right now. And I think,
Absolutely.
I'll tell you that much, um, I think you're exactly that. If you're sitting down trying to explain stuff, because just for the people watching, Jeff and I, do a lot of things, together, try to collaborate on different
Mm.
things inside Microsoft. Jeff on the screen is exactly Jeff off screen. This guy is as authentic as he comes. He'll talk to you exactly the same way. You know how sometimes, like, I've seen this. I've seen some YouTubers. He has a YouTube personality,
Yeah.
but in real life,
Yeah.
like, think Kevin Malone from The Office. He doesn't actually talk like that in real life,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But I've seen, and by the way, just so you guys understand, there's innovators. People come up with new technologies, and there are people that will take these technologies and advocate for them, and there are people that will take that the advocacy and go invent things. Jeff plays on all of these. Like, I will talk a little bit about Clip Talk.
Oh,
I know you love this app.
yeah.
What I
Yeah.
love about Clip Talk is how much you love it. Just how much, like, it's like your baby. You're just
It is.
building it, and they're using it as an example to teach the world. how
Hmm.
did you how did you come up with Clip Talk? And where did this idea come from? Like, it's a really great idea, but I see you using it again, multi-purposing, multi-impact. You're using
Sure.
it to show people what Blazor can do. You're using it, how what you can do with a web application. Tell me a little bit about Clip Talk.
Can we?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep,
I wanted to go back, if we can go back after this and talk a
yep,
little bit
yep, yep,
about different personalities on screen,
yep, yep, yep,
right?
yep, 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 yep.
Um, so
Let's talk about that first.
okay, so I mean, and thank you for pointing out. Yeah, I'm the same person on screen, on stage.
I swear, guys, the
Um,
same person.
so I it, I had seen the movie Howard Stern's Private Parts. Right, here's
Mhm,
Howard Stern, literally the most listened to man in American radio. And there's a part about maybe 45 minutes into the movie where he's trying to be that fast and slick disc jockey. Hey, it's so great to hear you. It's Monday morning and the traffic is like this. It's going to be sunny
mhm,
this afternoon.
mhm,
And thank you so much for tuning in. Get ready to listen to Def Leppard. And away they go.
mhm,
Like, and he completely had a different voice. He had that radio DJ voice.
mhm,
And there's a point where his wife says to him, I like that you paused for a minute in your show today, and you actually calmed down and had a discussion, and you were being you, and that's the part that I like.
mhm, mhm.
I know that my family is gonna tune in and see
Yep,
me on video.
yep,
I know that there are thousands of hours now of me on YouTube from my Twitch shows. I know that other folks are gonna see that, and I wanna be as genuine as possible because even when I'm long gone, those videos are gonna be around.
yep,
So,
yep,
I don't why try and put on a face? Why try and be someone different
yep,
when and then have to remember who
yep,
that person is
yep, yep,
when I can just be me,
yep,
I can just be positive and encouraging because that's who I am.
yep.
Help folks, get folks interested.
Mhm.
Oh, hang on.
Something
Look,
happened. I
my
still,
my my
I still,
camera decided to take a bath here.
I still can hear you. Just FYI.
Yeah, no, my
Jeff, just for people watching us, Jeff really uses his streaming equipment.
yeah,
It's high tech, high quality. But sometimes,
I yeah, it literally
uh,
my Windows stuff over here crashed.
no worries.
Yeah, look at that. Because I was so focused at it, and we were so engaged in the conversation. Power saving turned on my other stuff here. I'm
Ah,
gonna reset my
okay.
camera rig here. There it goes,
All right.
and it should be reconnected.
All right.
1 second. There we go.
There
Hey,
you
there
are.
it's back. Look at that, just like I called it. Where was I? So
You were,
it's
you were
so
talking
it's
about authentic characters,
yeah.
in
So
and outside of
being
the screen.
it's easier to just be me, that means I'm going to be a little bit more vulnerable and be positive and encouraging folks. So why not?
Yeah.
Right? And if I were to go the other way, if I were to say, you know what, I want to put up a facade so that I can protect my family, so that I can um, protect my personal interest in things, and want to have a little bit more fun with that, I would go completely over on that. Like Tony Clifton, uh, engagement on that. Look at that. You don't know who Tony Clifton is, do you? Ah, you know who Andy Kaufman is.
Yes, I do.
So Andy Kaufman, right, was a
Uh-huh.
comedian, late 70s, early 80s, came into national interest, national knowledge, awareness. He was on Taxi. There's
Oh,
Tony
you know what?
Clifton.
This guy looks from no, this is Andy Kaufman. Okay, I know this
Yes.
guy. Yeah, of course.
Tony
Everyone knows.
Clifton
Uh-huh.
was his personality that he adopted
Ah,
when he wanted
uh-huh,
to torment people, so
uh-huh,
that it
uh-huh.
wasn't folks that are into streaming that are successful.
Yep,
You see that with Dr. Disrespect, right?
yep. Oh yeah,
Um,
oh yeah. Very much so.
I forget guy's last name. Amazing talent. The
Yep.
guy is absolutely brilliant. What he's done,
Who's who's
and
that guy that my son watches? Brandon. You know, some guy who streams online. He's screaming 1 hour straight.
oh, I
He's
don't watch that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, no.
it's mainly kids, you know,
Mm,
Brandon, and I know he's not, so I know he's not, what is it, Boldy? Something like that, Boldy, like
mm.
that. Yeah, this kid right here.
Oh my gosh,
Screaming, he screams literally, like look at the face expression. He's like on extreme 24 hours.
uh,
I know that that's not how he
that's not
talks in
him.
real life. It's not
But
him,
right,
right?
does that do something for you? Evidently, it gets him audience.
Yep.
But right, like it even going further over, Guy Beam is his name.
Yeah.
Beahm, and he goes by the screen name Doctor Disrespect,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Doctor. Yeah, I know.
and
Yeah, this
there he is.
guy. He's also been like a very controversial character.
He has
Um,
been,
and
and
he got kicked out of Twitch a couple of times, something like that.
he's been permanently banned from Twitch. There he is. I
Yep.
mean, right? Same thing as Tony Clifton. Fake hair, big
Yep.
glasses, fake
Yep.
mustache.
Yep.
You can't fake this. This
That's
is
that's
this is
that's
real.
real. This is the real
Um,
deal.
but production quality amazing,
Yep.
content, and he's engaged the character. Like, he's written a backstory for this character, so much so that he wrote a novel and it was a New York Times bestseller about the backstory of him. He's got an agent and all this.
Yep.
That's fantastic for setting up and engaging an audience, and he can be as mean as he wants, and it's Dr. Disrespect that's being
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
being mad. It's not Guy.
The other guy. Yep.
That's that's not what I want to do. That's not I want
Yeah,
to
I
be
don't know.
positive and engaging
Yeah.
and encouraging. So, and that positive, engaging, and encouraging comes back now to Clip Talk, where
Yep.
I wanted to put an aspirational piece of software out there that
Yep.
I had tried to put together a couple of libraries and things that I could build and do open source on stream, and they were fun, they were interesting, but it was hard to keep people engaged outside of the tech community.
That's right.
Like how do I get more folks to see these things that aren't
In tech, in
us?
general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. How do I get the muggles, the non-technical folks involved?
Right.
Uh, to borrow a Harry Potter phrase.
Yes.
And when I watched a gentleman, his name is Harris Heller, and he runs a stream called Alpha Gaming. He teaches
Mhm,
people how to do better streaming
mhm,
techniques, technologies, hardware,
mhm,
and um, in one of his videos, he went on about the discoverability of clips on Twitch. There he is,
mhm, mhm.
and yeah, there you go.
This guy's
Um,
his real self. See, the first 2
he is
seconds, I can tell immediately, just the face expression. "Listen, this is who I am, and I'm gonna tell you what I think." What do you think?
exactly.
Tell me.
Yep.
Mhm.
But he started talking about clips aren't discoverable. How do we what do we do with these things? When you look at how TikTok engages with folks, it's about the same length content. It,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's that um, 30 seconds to a minute content, maybe now up to 3 minutes on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Do I do I really have um, do I really have content that's going to fit in there? And when I have a clip, it does fit it. I've already been doing it on Twitch. So what
Mm-hmm.
do I do with these clips? And to make them more accessible, because Twitch has them kind of buried and hidden off on the side, and for a while they were even on their own website. You wouldn't go to Twitch TV, you went to
Yep. Yep.
clips.twitch.tv to
Yep.
go find it. So how can we make those more accessible, more interesting, more compelling for folks? And that's where the comparison with TikTok and Twitch clips was like, well, okay, I know how to work with data, and when I look at the Twitch API that they expose, they make data about all their clips
Mm-hmm.
available out there. So why don't I just start searching for them and lob
Just
them into a database and put a search in front of it, Azure search in front of it, and we can search that and do some other fun things.
nice.
And it started coming together in a
Yep.
way that folks were saying, this is interesting.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
wanted to make it aspirational in the sense that I wanted to use Blazor for it.
Yep.
So I took that step and said, let's build
Uh,
this all with Azure Static Websites. That way it's free.
yep.
My storage is all that I'm really paying for.
Yep. Yep.
And it
So this is
started to
all
pick
client
up.
side. This is
That is
running
all
on the
client
client.
side.
Nice. Nice.
Twitch owns the videos. They own it's search for C# Fritz. You won't be
Okay.
able to find me by searching for my name.
C-sharp.
Yeah, CSH. There you go. There I am.
There you are. Nice. I love how
And
smooth this is. The search is it's like it's there. I know what you're about to search for. I
yeah,
love that.
right.
Nice.
And so I started pulling the pieces together, and I initially wanted to make it open source,
Mm-hmm.
but a marketing professional I was working with, she reached out to me and said, "You close that source right now." What? What are you talking about? Um, and she said, "This is going to be a thing."
Yeah.
Okay. So I closed the source within the first week that I had it, and was like, "You can watch and see exactly what I'm doing to build this,
Yep.
but I'm not going to make the source available. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to blog about it, but I'm not going to share the source."
Yep.
And folks were okay with that, so I started adding features. So if you go back to my channel
Okay.
for a second, there it is. See how some of the how my videos have this yellow pill next to it. There's a thing there, home entertainment systems, and you
Yep.
keep
This
scrolling
guy.
down.
Yep.
So I thought in looking at these, there's a title to all of these clips. Now, it's
Yep.
one thing to search for clips by a title. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. I can find that. But if you, Hassan, if you were searching for this video that we're recording right now and you didn't know the title, you knew that Jeff Fritz was in it, but if you just remembered, gosh, it was two guys and they were talking about Mr. Wizard and it
Yep.
was on Hassan's channel, how
Yep.
do you search for that?
Tags.
So what if you could search based on what was said in the clip?
Ah.
And this started to
Oh,
unlock some value.
nice.
So I haven't rolled it out because transcription is expensive.
Yes.
I
Very. Yes.
transcribe about 110 different channels, all of their clips as they come in,
Yep.
and those transcriptions get loaded into the search engine as well.
Yep. Yep.
Now we've got something interesting. Now I
Yep.
can search based on what was said and
Yep.
find that clip. Everybody, when folks talk about Twitch kind of breaking out, breaking through, it's Ninja was playing a game with Drake. Would you be
Yep.
able to find those clips today?
It's very
No.
difficult.
You would
Yeah.
search for Ninja and Drake, and you'd never find it.
Yep.
But if this was engaged in running on those clips, you would be able to find it.
Yep.
So I started
Yep.
adding that feature. And then I added a dashboard there so you could see, well, when were the clips created? See, there's a dashboard there next to clips, just underneath my name.
Okay,
Top
this other
to the
dashboard.
left,
Yeah, there
down.
it is. There it
Yeah,
is.
there you go. So
Nice.
now I've got a
Ooh,
dashboard that shows, okay, here's when the clips were created. Not only that, you can
nice.
click into one of those and see the clips for that day. And if you scroll up, there's even a radar graph there that shows things. You
Oh
can
my
search across my clips. And these are for us as developers of forms over data types of applications, this just kind of makes sense. We've been doing this kind of thing for years. Except
Nice.
instead of showing information or about a product or that's that's being sold, I'm showing you an image and linking to a video player.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
This here at the bottom reminds me of the GitHub commit history. It looks a lot like it, but you took that
Yes,
concept.
sir.
Oh man, this is beautiful, Jeff. Look at all this. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. And how fast it's seamless.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't believe this is a
This is
static
all
page.
this is a static page. This is all running in your browser. Now we're talking.
Yes.
And I've got translations into 25 different languages.
Nice.
Now,
Okay.
not all of them are
I know about
complete.
a couple of these, but
The
let's see.
translations were submitted by the audience, so not all of them have been completed, but a good number of them are out there.
This is actually pretty good because, right to left, see, this is why I selected,
Mhm.
UAE. It flipped the whole view right to left, and then I can go back here. You want to know what's challenging? Yeah, RTL,
It is not easy to
nice.
do.
It's not easy, especially if
No. But
this is
those are all
seamless. Yeah,
that's all submitted by viewers. And yeah, some of the things are a little bit behind.
yeah,
They're not up to date with the latest features. That's okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I I
You got to start
can
somewhere. You got to start
mhm.
somewhere. And this is one thing I always tell people, like a lot of people, here's something I read the other day. The gentleman that founded LinkedIn, not Jeff, there's another one. His name is, let's see, Reed Hoffman.
Yes.
He says something that's really, really important. I've been going around telling people that, say, if you're not embarrassed by your first product, you hit the market too late.
Mhm.
Right? That's an
Mhm.
entrepreneurial mindset like that. And I always told people, put something up there. There's a reason we have alpha, beta, V1, V2, V3,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and so on.
Mhm, mhm.
All right, here's one last thing for you, and I could talk to Jeff for days. You guys have no idea how much I love this guy. This guy's awesome, and he has a lot of stuff to show and teach.
Thank
Jeff,
you.
what do you have to say to newer generations of engineers? Like, unlike a challenge that maybe you and I had back when we started in the tech industry, you had shortage of content. I
Mhm.
remember having to go through magazines, finding these CDs,
Yes. Oh my
manuals,
gosh, yes.
an HTML Bible, and all of these,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
just you had to do it on your own in
Yeah.
isolation. Or okay, so this is a new challenge, right? Because there is a plethora of content out there. There's way too much content out there, right?
Sure.
And
Sure.
where do how does a new person in the tech industry find their way, into tech? How do they find their way? A lot of people say, I don't know where to start. And I
Sure.
and I totally understand because there is thousands, hundreds of thousands of schools of thought, hundreds of thousands of patterns.
Mhm.
Everyone is coming in and talking about their own experience. A lot of people be
Yeah.
like, I don't know
Yeah.
what kids are complaining about these days. When you were talking about these tags, I think you're doing something great. You're simplifying knowledge and content for people so it's consumable. It's like
Yeah.
you're saying, okay, here's the raw content. I'm gonna make it a little bit more consumable for you. Go ahead. What do you have to say? Go ahead.
And to that point that you just made, how can we make this a little bit easier, more consumable? Something that we Microsoft do more than just try and make our content more consumable, easier to read, easier to understand, a simple jump off point. We do that with our products also,
Yeah.
right? You go into Visual Studio, we want to give you a start screen that says, "Hey, what do you want to build today? Do you want to build a
Yeah.
website? Do you want to build a Windows application? Do you want to build a mobile application?"
Yeah.
And give you some tips, some hints to help get you successful quickly. right?
Yep.
We
Yep.
do that with our tools, with our M365 products. Hey, here's a template to get you started. You want to
Yep.
write a letter? Here you go. You want to build a spreadsheet to help you manage product inventory? Here's a template to get you started and help folks find success.
Mm-hmm.
So what would I tell folks in today's industry?
Yep.
Uh, You said
Someone
it a little
that's
bit earlier. Don't be
yeah.
afraid to fail. Learn, always be learning, right? I right, Glenn Ross was the movie way back in the day with Alec Baldwin, and he said to all the junior associates, always be closing. In this
Yep.
industry, always be learning.
Yep.
I don't care what technology, I don't care what interest you have, what field you're in, always be learning. Don't let the tech go by you. Look, 10, 15 years ago, Hassan, there was no phone
I know.
mobile
I know.
industry. You weren't
You
concerned
had
about
to drag
writing
the
apps
cord
for that.
across from the kitchen, walk with the phone with the cord, and then people trip
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Right? Um, so I look at where we were back in the day, right? Back in 2005, and we didn't know a thing about writing apps for mobile phones,
Yep.
mobile devices, tablets. Well, now we do. Now we know we need to build our websites so that they can scale, not just for a desktop. They can go all the way up to. I've got a 4K display above me here.
Yep.
Uh, right, my website needs to fit and look nice on there, and it also needs to look nice
On the
on my
phone.
mobile phone.
Yep.
So how do I do that? And we've leveled up our skills so that we can do that. Always be learning.
Yep.
You're going to break out of sitting at a desktop, sitting at a laptop, to maybe it is just working on a mobile phone. Maybe you're working on one of these.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Be ready, be flexible, embrace the change. It's going to happen. We're
Yep.
not going to be sitting in front of screens, and whether it's a big screen here
Yep.
or a little screen on a laptop, we're not going to be there forever.
Yep. Yep.
Be ready as a technologist, be ready for change, learn the change, and jump on it. But don't just blindly learn the change. I think if there's something that we've learned in the last year or two in the age of Bitcoin,
Yep.
think critically about
Yep.
those new technologies that are
Not
being
every
presented to
shiny
you,
thing deserves an adaptation. That's right.
or the investment of your time or
Effort.
money.
Yeah. Money. Yeah.
Don't if somebody's coming to you and telling you that they have an opportunity for you, and in order for you to participate, you need to bring your own money, they're not bringing you an opportunity.
Yeah. They're
They're
trying to kind of, scam you.
yeah. Take your time, learn, think critically about what's been presented to you.
hmm
Don't be afraid to ask for advice from some of the folks that have multicolored beards. You know what I'm saying, my friend?
I saw your the logos that you designed, and your new Twitter logo is beyond. How did you do that, Jeff? This
Oh,
is this is beautiful. Let me just show people here. This is what
I didn't do this. Oh my gosh. That
look at this.
so I have a photo of me wearing it. I do like blazers, so I do have a purple sequined blazer that I wear occasionally. And this is from a website called newprofilepic.com. So
Nice.
new profile pic, I uploaded that picture and applied a couple filters and generated that for me. I'm like, fantastic.
Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, right? Like
Love it. You're the content. I have yet to see someone creates content at least across Microsoft. Nobody creates content like you do. Like here's the thing. This is what I always tell people. You are a content creator,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
then I look at myself, I'm a guy who creates content. That's a very different level because I'm just putting things out there and people come and say, "Hey, can you at least make chapters in your YouTube
Yes.
video?" And
Yes.
listen, I will put the content, especially I have like a 5-hour video going through enterprise design end to end.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
I have to tell you this. There is so much love in what you do. There is so much dedication and commitment. A lot of the stuff, but just so you guys understand, I can tell you right now, almost 70 to 80% of what Jeff puts out there and he does, it's out of the goodness of his heart. He doesn't have to do these things. He
Yeah.
actually does these things because he loves these things. And if you find someone who's that passionate about anything at all, you got to stick to them. Just stick right next to them
Mm.
and listen and learn from them. Uh, Jeff, you are an awesome guy. Brother, you're an amazing person. I want you to know that. And your knowledge and your dedication, you're advocating, something that is useful for people, not trying to trigger someone online, not trying to, cause trouble, not trying to, spread anything, that is unuseful for people. You're just putting purely useful content out there. And I know that there are situations I've seen some, sometimes where people try to drag you into a
Yeah.
fight online. Of
Yeah.
course, they'll try to kind of
Yeah.
pull your leg in. The way you handle this, I swear to God, this is textbook how you can, mitigate and react to, potential risk, online when people try to
Mhm.
kind of you're trying to put a message out there, people try to kind of ruin it, they
Oh
put
my
something out
gosh.
there to attack it,
Yeah.
you know, the way you handle these things, you should literally, yeah, you could write just a book about just how you just emotional intelligence, just the emotional intelligence, especially when you're on a live stream and someone just puts an unnecessary comment in there, and how you kind of, deal with that. Do I
Mhm.
respond? Do I deal with it? Do I answer it in a different way? That the only other person that I've seen that comes very close to what you do, during live streams is Jeremy Lickness. I've seen how he sometimes people will go into a stream and they just put a horrible comment like this is all garbage and we don't like any of it, and he kind of tries to kind of dig a little bit deeper to see if there's actually any opinion or content or reason behind that comment, or it's just someone trolling online.
Yeah,
I also go ahead,
the
go ahead.
at the point that somebody brings that type of comment, thank you for the feedback.
Yep.
You know, you're welcome to change the channel, to watch another video if this is not something you're interested in. But we do have folks who are interested in it, and that's where I'm going to continue.
You know,
Done.
you know what I think of you? I think of you like a train. People can either get on board,
Yeah.
right, or sit on the side and say, "Hey, here's what I think," but
Mhm.
don't try to stop Jeff's stream. You won't be able to. You won't be able to ruin his stream. You won't be able to block him from getting the word out there, and that I really appreciate and admire. And please continue to spread that light all over the world. Continue to inspire people, help people get opportunities, learn from what you do. There's a lot of people watching you, a lot of people eyes from everywhere, from all
Oh
different
yeah.
age groups, from seasoned 30 years in the industry all the way to I just joined this yesterday. I don't know, the muggles, like you call them, right?
Yeah, yeah. The
People that are just
non-technical
saying,
folks, they're just getting
yeah,
started. So
non-tech looking at you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
when I will tell you, in the first couple months that I was streaming, I had a message come in from somebody, and they said, um a highly placed executive, I'll say, at our employer, was looking for some feedback on this live streaming thing, and we sent them your stream. I was like, oh, okay.
It's the best content. You've got the
So
best content.
so I know that some highly placed folks at the company have seen my
Yep.
content, and
Yep.
I'm flattered by that. I appreciate that. If
It's your
I
investment, Jeff. Just how
Yeah.
much investment you put in it. Again, I'm telling you, brother. I'm on the internet all the time. I watch if it's on the internet, I'll watch it. Either our official stand up ASP.NET Blazor, our
Sure,
blog posts, whatever.
sure.
This is across Microsoft. I have not seen anybody. In fact, actually, you're all the way up there with Nick Chaspas. I was just thinking,
Mhm.
like, interviewing him the other day. The just the level of content right up there with Tim Corey and these folks. People that are just
Mhm.
putting actual content. I
I've spent some time with Tim. I haven't had a chance to meet Nick in person, but I've had a conversation or 2 with Nick. Great folks.
They're very good. They're
Oh, yeah.
and their
And
background, just where they come from and how they
Nope.
ended up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Tim is local to me here
Yep.
in on the East
Yep.
Coast.
Yep.
Nick, I believe, is in
He's
Europe.
in London now, but he's
Yeah,
originally from Greece.
yeah.
And I was like, I thought you were from Spain or Mexico or something. He's like, nope. I don't know why people keep telling me that. I'm not. I was like,
The
okay.
Yeah, I think it's the surname. People are picking up and think it sounds
A
Spanish.
little Hispanic. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you
But
so
uh,
much, Jeff. I appreciate you,
fantastic
brother.
folks, and two more folks that yes, they want to help make a difference. Folks learning
Yep.
about tech and
Yep.
advancing, creating a career. So,
Yep. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, brother. I really
oh,
appreciate
thank
you. I
you.
appreciate what you do. Please come back again to our
Sure.
podcast. What I always tell people is that, there will be issues that pop up, like this hot reload thing that happened a few months ago, right? I want to
Hmm.
I want to bring you in on this podcast, and we want to talk about this. We want to talk about certain issues, when it comes to, developer advocacy. I know there was a point in time where you said we are in a race against time about content creation. I saw that tweet,
Yes.
once you were like, the people keep wanting lesser and lesser time for
Yep.
content.
Yep.
And when you're presenting something like software engineering and programming languages, how do you do that?
I'm blown away when I see the people who have a minute or two on TikTok teaching basics of JavaScript. Like,
Yeah.
are
You,
you
you know who
kidding?
started doing stuff like that? Scott Hanselman. He started engaging in TikTok.
He did.
But sometimes he will kind of pivot to let me respond to an existing
Hmm.
video and whatnot.
Hmm.
He's also I need to bring the brother here. We need to talk to him a little bit.
The,
But
right, the interesting thing about TikTok is because you have such a short amount of time, you have to stay focused. So
yeah,
if you are going to do any kind of response to folks, it's a minute or two to answer somebody's question. So a single video is
yep,
going to generate a couple hundred questions,
yep,
which means you're going to have a couple, maybe a dozen videos that are just responses to those questions.
yep,
And each one
yep,
of those could have a dozen come off of that. So you end up with
yep,
this content treadmill that you're creating, but it's in this race for shorter and shorter content.
yep.
Back
That's
to what you were saying, folks asking on YouTube for chapter markers.
yep.
I get that all the time, my friend, all the time.
They want to know which part they need to read. I'll tell you something, Jeff. Like you are one of those people who I think of you as a tailor of content. You tailor the content in the way that would fit the day and time that we're in. Like
Hmm.
if I put an MIT lecture online that's 3.5 hours with someone that's really talking about really, really deep technical stuff, maybe you'll find a couple of hundred people watching it, but is it actually reaching the right audience to make the right impact?
Exactly.
This is where you come in, my friend, and you kind of say, okay, let me rebrand content at the day and age that we're in to make it fit, the kind of audience that we're trying to reach out to. And this
Hmm.
is why your content is
Hmm.
the best. I've never seen.
Thank you.
I can sit there and watch you literally all day. I can put you on a like while I'm driving, I can just listen to you without even watching what you're
Yes.
saying. And you should be
That's my trick.
that's your
That
thing.
is absolutely something that I focused on from day one. Is it's one thing to watch somebody write code, but I typically listen to podcasts
Yep.
when I'm mowing the grass, working
Yep.
in the yard on different things, walking the dog, driving to work. Right, I don't drive to work anymore, but when I was, um, I can't watch a screen, so and not just I can't watch a screen, but something that I've heard from folks who are visually impaired because of how I describe the code, it is much more accessible to them.
Yep.
That's a big win.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Jeff. You have a
Oh, it's been great
wonderful
to talk to
day.
you.
I appreciate you. Have a good weekend. And of
Yes,
course,
you
for,
too.
for the people watching us, Jeff, I'm gonna put all his links to all his channels. Very, very great teacher, great advocate, and personally just working with the gentleman, he is an actually an authentic, kind, innovative human being. And I'm really, really honored to talk to you today, sir. You have a wonderful day.
All
Thank you
righty.
so
You
much.
too.
Take care, Jeff.